Morning, everybody. I'd like to call the February 16th, 2023 meeting of the Parks and Services to order. Thank you all for being here today. And I'd like to welcome our newest committee member, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah, for joining us. So the first item on the agenda is officer election. And we'll start with electing a chair. So are there nominations for chair?
I nominate Stacy Benefield for chair.
Thank you, Anita.
I second.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, thank you. Any discussion then, if we have a motion in a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, thank you. So now we will elect a vice chair. Are there nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Les.
Wonderful.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Les, do you accept the nomination?
I do. Thank you.
Wonderful. So is there any discussion or should we vote? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So next is approval of minutes. I assume all of you have had a chance to take a look at them. Do you have any changes or revisions? No? Okay, would somebody like to?
I motion that we accept the minutes.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. So next on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? Jan?
I'm Jan Siebert Warmond for the Cannon Beach Friends of the Tree, care of P.O. Box 778, Cannon Beach, 97110. Dear Cannon Beach Parks and Community Services members, thank you for your consideration of the Sitka Spruce Forest Reserve for Heritage Tree designation. We hope you've all been able to read our application and to appreciate beautiful photos and extensive work of bird species documented in the forest. We also hope you've been able to experience this special place, a place which has been cherished for generations by both residents and visitors. For some, the Sitka Spruce Forest Reserve is a sanctuary, a refuge. Historically, culturally, botanically, biologically, and ecologically, it is a rare, intact spruce wonder in the heart of our community. The trees and all of the wildlife and nature connected with them play an increasingly important role in the sustainability and overall health of Cannon Beach. We look forward to working together, you, city staff, the city arborist, to give the intact Sitka Spruce Forest Reserve the care and respect it needs and deserves. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We'll do our best to answer or find the answer. And I'd also like to thank those in the audience today and all those on Zoom, if there are any, and all those who were not able to be here today, who have supported this work and who continue to support it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Jan. Okay. Start.
Good morning.
We'll start off.
Okay, Trevor's gonna start off.
Let's introduce our new employee for Park,
Yay,
AJ.
welcome.
A lot of experience from Cannon Beach Landscape. I think what 12 years over there.
Just about, yeah.
So check out his nice ed job at Les Shirley Park on the sidewalk. It looks really, really good. Anyways, go ahead.
It looks about the same as it did last year after I did it. Um,
That's high praise indeed.
We didn't have a meeting last month, so this is a 2-month report. Despite that, there's not a lot to report because, as you know, Joe Olson retired late in December. I transitioned on January 1st to half-time, but only half of that time is in the Parks Department. I do my other 3 departments on the weekends. And AJ started last week. It's AJ Welliver, and it's great to have him here. Right off the bat, AJ's been picking up on deferred maintenance. I don't really try to brag that much, but so there's been stuff that we could do and haven't. So he's been eyeballing it on his own and hitting it hard running. And so everything's good. This is what I can report the last 2 months is we finished the annual pruning, weeding and top dressing of the Rose Garden. Pacific Power repaired a street light at the bandstand. We took down all the holiday lights and decorations. The Cola Creek Forest Reserve footpath was cleared of blowdowns. Drainage was improved, and we even repaired a little bit of a slide that kind of compromised a little bit of the trail beyond the little footbridge. And I think though we took out, I don't know, about 15 blowdowns, I think were cleared out of there. So the path's good to go. We'll check it again next month, probably March when the winter's over. Our John Deere riding mowers have all been to Clatsop Power for the annual service. We officially closed the ADA ramp at Tolovana Wayside, put a cable across it. So full of debris, it'll be cleared out again before spring break. That's kind of our annual routine now. I did replace a damaged interpretive sign on the Sewell Lagoon Trail, one of the signs out at the wastewater plant. We've ordered our flower baskets that will be installed in May. Order them early because they custom build them for us. We buy those through Cannon Beach Landscape. We repaired the wooden stairway at the bottom of the Center Street beach access. And like I say, AJ's been working on a lot of deferred landscape maintenance, all kinds of hard edging along sidewalks and parking lots. Claim back our hard space, and it's long overdue. So I really appreciate his efforts. And that's what I have to report.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Any questions for Kirk or AJ? Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome.
Welcome, AJ.
Thanks, Kurt.
So right away, tree removals is next. Are there any questions?
Can I back up for a second, Stacy? I'm sorry. So I guess what you have to look forward to is myself phasing out of these reports and AJ taking over. Not next month or the month after, but ultimately that's how, if I'm working in parks 10 hours and AJ is the first person we've had assigned to the Parks Division full time in 22 years.
Wow, it's exciting.
It's been kind of a shared thing. Joe was halftime and I did weekend stuff. And so it's a little bit of a change anyway. So he's the parks guy and he'll be like, I think, taking my spot eventually. Just wanted to finish that off. Sorry.
Thanks. So right away, tree removals. Any questions? Ready?
I realized we had a very damaging storm. And I was reading about all the different trees that are going to be removed, but I also noticed a lot of replacement tree recommendations. And I just wondered what's our process for making sure that the trees get replanted? Do we have a spreadsheet or something?
Yeah,
It's in place.
plants back. It Tessa's informed, and then she keeps a spreadsheet that is included with our Tree City USA application.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, I was just worried because it's like so many this time. I thought, oh, how are we going to keep track of this? So that's great.
There is a location I'm going to talk to you about for Earth Day for the grade school kids.
Perfect.
It's been on our radar for plant back, and I think it could be a good location, but I'll discuss it when we get there.
So I have a question about Betty's, and your answer. So, is that accessible to the public to look at that spreadsheet?
I don't believe it is, no.
Is there a way to make that accessible so we can have further transparency?
I'm not sure about that. I have to look into that.
I think that it's something that Kirk usually shares with us in the state of the parks too, if there's been plantings. So we do end up recording it in minutes too, and it does get sent in for Tree City USA. So I know they have record of it, but we don't post it publicly because I think that it includes a lot of our private tree removals and plantings too.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
So I had a question on the walking trail. And Jeff's recommendation for a grind down of the high areas. Anticipate that doing any root damage to the tree? Are you planning to?
The reason we're gonna do that is so we won't do any root damage to the trees. It's behind the conference center.
Right, I know where it is.
Well, so the idea is to. So with the safety issue with the cracked asphalt, we're gonna overlay it with asphalt. Buy some more time with and not affect the roots.
Is there any other material that might be a little bit more environmentally friendly, so prone to?
I'm not gonna answer, I can't answer that.
Okay,
This is what we came up with.
This is what we came up with. Jeff, we all did a site visit with Jeff Gearhart.
right.
That's why the side, we're gonna do some things to keep the erosion at bay.
Mm.
Grind down the asphalt in the high areas and then overlay it.
Well, I guess I'm just curious if there is any other material other than asphalt that would be more malleable to roots and things other than black.
I'll ask Jeff Gearhart.
Okay,
That was his recommendation.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
The street department weighed in too, and there's also whenever you're thinking about that part of the trail. Quite frankly, the integrity of the dike is the most important thing. And in this Paul's argument that big trees on dikes are a little precarious because they go, that's why we cut that big one down. If it rips out the dike, then downtown floods. So. But anyway, we're not going to mess with any trees there.
Yeah,
This is the solution to, and I think it's might be just a matter of biding time, like we might have to face this problem again in 5 or 10 years, I don't know, and do it again, but rather than. The option is to grind the roots, and we don't want to do that.
right. Appreciate that.
Any more questions? Great, thank you. So now we're going to be talking about 12 Days of Earth Day. We probably ought to start off by talking about where we will hold the street fair. Last year, and I think the time before that when we did it on Second Street. To me, that's a great location, just because there's so many people already downtown and it's easy for people to see it. So I have a question about what people think about that.
I agree that the Second Street location is the best for, just traffic and the table booths exposure. And I know that there was a business owner that was concerned, and I'm hoping that maybe she won't be, or there's some way that we can assure her that her business will be frequented, probably maybe more because of the people that are visiting the street fair. So I don't know if we need to reach out to her to alleviate any questions or just to give her plenty of time to voice a concern. But I would really like to see Second Street.
Last year, didn't Trevor, you and Anita went to talk to the businesses, right?
Yes, we did.
And there
With
was
my cute little dog, and nobody had any problems at all.
Right. I think we should do that again too.
Yeah, that's just common courtesy to.
Yeah, I don't know I can't remember if we talked to the owner of that business in particular or a manager. So that might have been where she felt
Yeah. I
Out
like
of-
my business card.
Yeah, yeah. I thought we did everything we could and gave ample opportunity for concerns to be voiced. So,
Is that what you guys are kind of looking for? The same thing this year? Myself and Anita going out?
Or if there's somebody else that is interested in
Yeah, I mean,
participating.
I just think it's nice to let people know what's happening.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the parking issue was a little bit tricky that day because one of the restaurants didn't realize that their employees were parking, so we had to make sure they got out so that we could set up. But other than that, it worked well.
yeah. Yeah. And I think with plenty of notification that they'll be able to make whatever arrangements and
So why aren't the elementary school and the city park down there being considered instead of shutting down a street for that?
well, I think at this time, we were told that the elementary school isn't really ready for this sort of a function. And that I think as a committee, we thought that the Second Street location was a very good area for foot traffic, for people visiting, exposure for the people with their booths, tables. It just seemed to be, and it's a 2-hour closure.
Sure, but with everything on either side of, people coming in and having to shut down the road and everything, then it's not just 2 hours, it's, I don't know, 4.
It's like 10 to 2 or something like that by the time it's all said and done.
It's not taking away much parking. I mean, we were pretty much at the west end of the street. And I think that on the south side, the majority of that block is for loading. So it's not really, I don't think that we're taking away that much parking.
No, and that wouldn't be my concern. It would just be the change of traffic, is always something that causes a lot of confusion. And if business owners do have a concern with it, then maybe moving it to an area like the city park wouldn't burden them.
Well, I suppose it is a consideration, but the park is wet and there's grass and then you're going to have to direct people. So the Second Street location, people are heading to the beach. And I think that's what we found is that they stopped at the tables to look at what was going on their walking.
Every booth unloads out of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you would set up the
Yeah, I
booths and.
think it would do damage to the,
Convenient to
Us.
load none,
I'm just
get out of there.
yeah.
looking out for the business owners that might have had a concern last year.
Well, and they went and talked to her after as well. And they'll all go and talk to her again. And all the other business owners that would be impacted.
Nobody had any challenges or questions when Trevor and I went. So, we gave them ample time to voice any concern, maybe they'll have another question or two this year. But at this point, I mean,
What we did when we set up the booths was we didn't put it right in front of an entryway.
Mhm.
We scattered it away so that, for instance, the log cabin, when they could easily get in and out, and all of the businesses, the creperie, we were very careful not to just block them. But we did have quite a big crowd, and I know a lot of those people were going into the restaurants. I mean, Amy did.
I would second that. Yeah, I'd say that would be my preferred location based on the fact that you can get something to eat easily. If we were going to move it, then I would ask for us to really push to have some sort of food cart or something to be able to offer something if it wasn't already in walking distance. To me, it feels like if it wasn't on Second Street, then we would want to find a way to provide some kind of food opportunity, because otherwise you're sort of on an island when you attend.
Well, and that would give an opportunity like the fire department or somebody else to participate if you did move it and needed to require or, offer food.
But I don't know that we've got enough time, but because it's in 2 months now, I don't know that we would have necessarily enough time to organize all that.
Well, maybe something to consider for
Maybe.
next year.
Yeah. You guys all good with Second Street then? Les, oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was just gonna make the comment that I think one of the reasons Second Street works so well is it's tied so closely to the parade. People, it draws people and then they see the Second Street location. I'm not sure they would see the park necessarily. So I would concur. I think Second Street, as long as we can be sensitive to the business owners and make it work for them, I think that's the best place.
Did you have a question?
Oh, I just have a comment. My name is John Rippey. And I think in this consideration, it's important to remember that for years, there were a whole lot of Ferraris closed off Second Street.
Right.
Not just for a couple of hours, but all day long.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what did he say? There was
The Ferrari Club used to come here and close off Second Street.
Oh.
They keep Ferraris up and down Second.
Ferraris.
Down Second,
Now
come onto the highway and then wind their engines down.
it's quite an event,
Yes, it was.
quite a show.
Remember that.
Quite a show.
Oh, yes.
It's a fundraiser.
It was.
The problem this came too, is what happened twice a year. They closed down Second for car shows, at least twice a year.
So at next month's meeting, let's discuss a date that we're gonna walk around and talk.
Should I bring my little dog?
Sure.
Helpful last time.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll be on Second Street then. I'm gonna get my notes out so I don't. And then I know Betty, you are helping, you're doing the street fair. And then
So-
Amy, are you helping? Anita? Okay,
Yeah, and Amy's helping me get it organized with the booth, and
okay,
we've got quite a good response already. And Anita's going to help with the actual, like lead up in the day.
Okay.
So we have a lot of good coverage. And I used the list we had last year. Let me see if I can find the groups, and everyone on this list has said, well, the bottom three, Cardam, we would like to add Cardam,
okay,
the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve. Oh, excuse me. That's going to be with North Coast Land Conservancy, but the Nehalem Land Trust, we're trying for them. Amy has reached out to them, and one of the reasons we want them to come is because you want to talk about the farm.
They have the Alder Creek Farm there with master gardeners, and we thought that maybe there could be some discussion about native plants and gardening. Maybe a brochure of some sort given away. If we couldn't have any plants available to give away, that would be at a minimum, just to have someone speaking about native plants.
Great.
Waiting to hear back from them. They're interested, but it's just a matter of whether they have the capacity to bring somebody on.
sure. Sure.
Heart of Cardam, we've reached out because we thought it would be fun to have some examples of recycled art and awareness of, reuse. And they're very busy, so we're not sure that's going to happen, but we might be able to pull it together ourselves. Can't get them.
Okay.
And then you reached out to Washington Shore.
And Washed Ashore also expressed interest, but again, just a matter of whether they can send somebody up. I think they're based in Bandon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that would be the first time I think they'd be participating with us if they did come. We'll just add another layer of educational exposure to another environmental nonprofit.
Pacific Power is also gonna have a booth there. Pacific Power.
Always going to have a booth. And I was talking to Jan about the tree giveaway. And we were thinking maybe that could be something that her booth could do, but it pisses
She's gonna have, I believe she's gonna have vouchers.
vouchers. Okay.
7 days and purchase.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So
What's the application process this year for?
Same as last year, right? The application process for
So do we,
to do it for the parade and and do we do the street closure too? Do we do an
Good
application?
idea. We'll do a right of way permit and
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so the parade, the street fair and the road closure.
and then also everything that all these groups that we've connected with, we send information to Tessa and then she sends out a formal invitation. Last year, I was kind of surprised about the idea of all the volunteers that we have to sign a waiver. So we have to be sure those get in before the day. And I'm not sure if we're going to have COVID waivers again this year, but that'll be decided, right?
Mhm.
And this year, we'd like to add some hands-on activities if COVID keeps at bay. We would like to do, I'd like to do worm composting, and you make these little seed balls that you can put seeds in. And you can throw those seed balls anywhere you want and you can have flowers growing all over the place. So that would be one idea. Recycling gift ideas would be fun, and then we could have the kids or people make envelopes and put out of recycled paper, and then they could put their seeds inside that we would give them away. And then we'll do a demo on natural cleaning and show people how you can make decoupage bottles. Instead of throwing them in the trash, you can turn them into beautiful gift ideas, put natural cleaners in them and give them away. And then we're going to have nature crowns out of strips of paper with flowers and things the kids can put it on there and then put them around and wear them all day. So anyway, we wanted to have a little fun with it this year, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Well, anybody wants to volunteer?
Sign up, sign up.
Please, please, yes. Now that's all. Do you
And
have
so-
anything to add, Amy?
The only thing, so also Betty and I are working with Tolovana Hall about having a composting workshop there the weekend before
The days.
for community members to attend. Working with Andrew on that right now. And then the only other things are, I guess, the tree planting that's going through Barb Knob
Right, and Barb's
School.
and Barb's on, so when we have questions for Barb, she's happy to.
Okay, I don't know about the two things Barb wanted to just keep doing, I think.
Yeah, she wants to do the shred event.
Yeah,
And Barb, can you hear us? Or,
She's unmuted. Yeah.
okay. So Barb, when do you want to do the shred event? Do you want to do it the 21st?
That was the date that I was thinking.
Okay,
If that works with everybody.
great.
the 21st.
And what time on that, Barb?
We traditionally have done it from 10 till 2.
Okay, in the city parking lot, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then for the tree planting? With
I
the
don't
Cannon
have a-
Beach Academy?
Right. I don't have a date yet, but if you guys are willing to let me organize that, I would be happy to do it.
Please.
That'd be great.
Location I have in mind is on the north side. It would involve the grade school kids having to get transported down there. Is that an option, Barb? Or do you want me to try to?
I think we can work towards that.
Okay,
Okay. Great. Then Les, are you still willing to take on PR?
Yes, and I was just kind of waiting my turn. So as we're starting to get to where I can flesh out a calendar, which I'd like to get publicized as early as possible. So as soon as when we get a tree planting date, I'd like to know that. Are we also going to have a Tree City USA event like we did last year?
well, that's an action item. Yeah.
I
can
would
speak
hope
about-
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, Trevor would like to speak on that.
so we've got
Okay.
Tree City USA again, so we're gonna be receiving the stickers, and once we get those in hand, we'll set a date.
Okay.
Kind of do the same thing we've done in years past, take a picture. As we're just putting the sticker up, so.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So when we get a little closer then.
What about Saul and the beach cleanup? I had feedback from last year that because we had an event that was associated with the Earth Days and Saul had a separate event on the same day, that for some reason that caused a lot of confusion. Did anybody else hear that? And do you have any idea? I don't know personally right now that Saul has already got something on the calendar for the 22nd. Should I check?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to, I don't think we need to have one in addition to one going simultaneously.
We've been talking with Solve.
Okay,
At this moment, they haven't planned anything, but we're hoping to encourage them to do something on that day. And we'll let you know as soon as we find out.
okay.
And if it isn't that day, could they do it the Saturday before? Because that's still during our 12 days.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I don't think they have a problem doing it that day. It's just usually they get a sponsor
Mhm.
in town and they're,
They're currently talking to Martin North about sponsoring.
Okay.
So that's kind of all, I think it's in the works right now.
Well, I know
Okay.
Friends of Haystack Rock did it last year, but I don't know that they're
yeah, the
planning
friends,
on doing that.
the
this year.
friends are overwhelmed this year, so they're not going to do that. But they'll do one in the summer, they said.
Okay. Is anybody in this, I'm looking to see all the different things we need to get on the schedule. Is anybody on the committee interested in taking on the parade, or shall I contact Bob Lundy to see if?
I talked to Bob Lundy
Okay.
and he, I was thinking of volunteering Hannah if she was interested, because Bob said he would just walk you step through step to set the parade. If you don't want to do it, I understand, but
Well, I'm just not gonna be in town.
That's
for like, for half of April.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't really want to commit to anything that
yeah,
I'll need to be on site for.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Bob's willing to do it.
Okay.
If anybody else wants to work with him.
Yeah, I'll call him.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to step up and try to help him as well. So.
Great.
Les, can I ask for clarification about the issue with Solve last year? I'm not clear. I don't remember.
Well, it
Exactly.
wasn't really an issue that I can expound on, other than we ended up having a Solve event that was at a slightly different set of times from the 12 Days of Earth Day event, and they had different meeting areas. It was just that we had some feedback that people weren't sure where to go. It
that's right.
was.
Is their
Yeah, it was-
location this parking lot? Was?
Could have been. Could have been.
Could have been that there's a couple Solve captains in
Yeah.
the community that did an event on the same day.
Right.
And Friends, they meet at Haystack for their Solve cleanups. And Pacific Alarm System, when they do them, they meet down here,
Oh,
or CERT, or whoever Janae manages it for.
Yeah.
Okay, so ideally, if Betty and I are continuing to talk with our two contacts at Solve, we'll ask that they maybe have their location on Second Street, so everything's all in one
Yes, yeah.
unified place.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
That'd be easy. And then I know
Yeah,
one
I-
other issue. Oh, go ahead, Les.
I was just going to say, I just didn't want to repeat any unintended confusion.
Yeah, I think I'm remembering now. I remember our family meeting at this parking lot at City Hall to pick up the Solve bags. And then we went to the beach, but we ended up at Second Street because that was our intention, was to participate in the parade and fair. So we did both, but I could see how that could have gotten confusing for other
Yeah.
people. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
And then Jan, are you willing to take on the Gaylord Nelson Award again?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Barb, what other committee positions do we need to fill?
Well, remember in the handbook, there's a list of the items that you need to make sure that you have covered.
Right.
And I think you've done a pretty good job of it. I would assume Stacy would be the overall person in charge, and you've addressed the parade and the street fair. And I mean, you need to decide if you want to have a potluck or some type of event for the crowning of the Gaylord Nelson and maybe a presentation by someone.
Okay.
And Stacey, are you going to do the lecture series?
So I talked to Angela Benton last night, and she said they have a lecture on April 12th at 7 p.m. at the library. And we can certainly, they would love to be involved or have it on our schedule as well.
Who's that, Stacy? I'm
Angela
sorry.
Benton, she's chair of Friends of Haystack Rock.
Okay.
And they do a library lecture series each winter. So that's going to be on the 12th.
Okay. I was asking Hannah if she would give a little talk maybe on the first part of the like first week before, like the 11th, 12th, something like that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Would you?
Sure.
On
You want to do a
birds?
talk or a bird walk?
I do both. We have a presentation about how to help the birds. So we could present that and we could do a walk around sewage ponds or whatever.
You want to do that on a Saturday?
Um,
Stays hard,
yeah,
right?
Saturday's tougher.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do like 14th.
Okay,
14th, okay. So bird walk and lecture.
Sure.
and I assume those are best in the morning?
Bird walks, yeah.
So just an FYI, right now, I'm just trying to flesh out the calendar and kind of keep track of who's in charge of each of these events, but I will be asking for a little short write-up, a little blurb of what you intend to cover. Just think about it. I'll ask for that a little later, but we always try to put as much information on our website as possible. And I want to continue to do that this year.
Okay. So as we go through the different days of the 12 days, I don't have anything down for the 11th. I have a library lecture on the 12th, nothing on the 13th, bird walk on the 14th. Then the 15th through the 20th, I don't have anything down. Then the shred event on the 21st and the street fair and parade on the 22nd.
No, on the 15th, we're trying to get a composting workshop.
Okay.
Did you prefer the 15th to Saturday over the Sunday 16th?
Either way, I mean, Saturday or Sunday, we're trying.
Okay,
And if possible, I mean, we could also do like Saturday, we could do one, and on Sunday, I could offer a different class, maybe on
Okay.
natural cleaning or whatever people would be interested in, just to,
so we can fill those days.
yeah.
And then HRAP is on the beach every day, so we can also have HRAP on this list for the times that they're on the beach.
Okay.
So is that good for today for 12 days?
Yeah.
Okay. If you think of anything, certainly.
Or Pacific Power's contact with Amy or communicate with our contact about the street fair.
Great. Okay.
I have
Anything?
one,
Yep, Les?
just one question, Barb, not to put you on the spot, but I'm still kind of waiting on the official Puffin artwork. Is that something you could send to me, or is the file too big and we can't do it that way?
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I've hesitated to put anything really official together before I had that, and now time is here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we good for right now? Then I guess one thing we could really talk about is, do we want to do a potluck for the Gaylord Nelson Award, or do we want to do it like we did last year where we gave it out at the city? I think I liked giving it out at a Parks and Community Services meeting, but
I would agree.
I
I think trying to organize a potluck on top of the event would be
okay.
overwhelming.
So we will give out that award then at our Parks and Community Services meeting in April. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, on to the next, and that is the community grant application. Thank you, Tessa, for working so hard on getting that all put together. Did anybody have any questions or any changes on that application packet, or should we go ahead and vote to send it out?
wait just a minute.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about making sure people came to the award ceremony, and I'm just quickly trying to see if we put the information in there. Oh, we're going to do it August 11th. So that, yes, we did make that change. So other than that, I think it's good.
Okay. Do we need a motion for this? Or are we
I would
just
move
good to
that
go?
we approve it.
Okay, Les, thank you. Somebody have a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. And I learned last week that the application for the Tree City USA has been approved. That's great. Thank you so much, Tessa, and all staff that really helped work on that. It was a big process this year. Big process.
Once we receive the materials. Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you. The next item is the Heritage Trees Program. I'm sure you all saw in the packet, there has been an application turned in. One thing that we need to, I was speaking with Les and he reminded me, we had determined that we would meet to discuss applications, I think once or twice a year. And so I think we need to set what we think that should look like. Should we meet should we include it once a year in one of our meetings or twice a year to go through the applications that we receive?
I'd like to do twice a year, just to, in the hopes that we get a lot of applications and we're gonna need the X for them.
Okay.
I thought we talked about having just one this year and then evaluating how that went and then,
One tree.
or yeah, one applicant and then just see how the process goes. I think that's what you were recommending, right?
One tree I was recommending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we hope to have a number of applications, and it's just a matter of, are we going to deal with them as they come in, every month, or have several? At some point, I'd kind of, if we have several applications, I'd like the ability to compare them one against the other to make sure that we are, because we only want to submit one to the council this year. I'd like it to be the best.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion.
How are we advertising this so that people know? I mean, I know some of us know about it, but put it in the city bulletin. I mean, the bulletin.
It's when we got the process started and we were approved, it's been already posted in the city bulletin.
Oh, it has. Okay. All right.
And then the application's on the city website.
Okay. All right.
What about on the water bill? There's like a little note on the water bill that's like, save water doing this, is there an opportunity to put this in there? So it's just in more locations?
I'll look into that. Thanks.
So if we discuss it twice a year, then are you thinking, should we do spring and fall? Should we do? When would be the best? Because we're pretty busy with, once the community grants go out. So we'd probably want to have it end with Earth Day
Mhm.
in the spring. So when would be the best time to look at those applications? June and December?
December is not a very busy month. June, we're wrapping things up. So yeah, those sound pretty. Right now, and it's really a slam time for us.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. What would work best? Would there any time be a better time for the city for us to?
The winter's always a slower time, I mean, maybe pick a month in the winter time.
November, December,
November,
Okay.
November.
sure.
All right.
It seems quiet now. Any other month that comes to mind?
We start with November, and then if we need more,
Then we can
then we
go.
can go from there.
So great, we will have that on the agenda then in November to look at the applications. And I wanted to have a discussion about the application that came in that Friends of the Tree sent in. When the committee met, we've had a lot of discussion about heritage trees. And it was determined that to start, we wanted to start small, just to kind of see how the program goes. And so and what we presented to council was that we would start out, this is from the minutes of the October council meeting. It will start out as one tree in the public right of way due to the expense with the program. We want to do it right. So we're going to do it. We're doing it slow to get it right the first time, then it will expand. So that is what we talked to council about. And that is what we agreed on in the committee, that it would be one tree to start. And so I'd like to have a discussion with the committee. My recommendation would be that that application, that you submit another application with one tree, not 22 acres of tree. Just because that is what we had agreed on in the committee, and that's what council voted on, is one, to start with one tree. So I'd like to have a discussion about that with the committee.
Okay. Well, I agree that the 22.2 acres is really a sacred space. It's very sacred. And for so many people, I'm sure you have amazing memories of that place. It wouldn't hurt to pick one of the most magnificent trees and start there. Because that 22 acres, it's like if we think of ECFR, it's a lot of acres to care for, and just dealing with blackberries is a big deal. And I know that one of the sad parts to me is when I walk by the Spruce Tree Reserve is seeing all the invasive species that are encroaching on that beautiful piece of land. So I think we need to figure out ways to care for that land. And if we have one designated heritage tree, we can start looking at the whole property and try to figure out how we're going to manage that property, because we're now managing ECFR and we want that to stay pristine. I would love to have the same thoughtfulness and consideration for that stand of trees. But I know it's going to be a big step for us. So one tree, maybe one tree at a time, we just keep designating, and we just work out until we have all the trees protected. But I do think we need to protect that whole area. So that's my take on it.
So when Betty and I were trying to do research a year or more ago on what people did with their heritage tree programs, there are places in the United States that designate large areas, I believe, as heritage. I think Hawaii was one of those, wasn't it, Betty?
Yes.
But I think for Cannon Beach specifically, not to disagree with the value and the importance of the Sitka Reserve. Obviously, the city and the folks that live here have always thought that was an important area and have tried to preserve it. I'm not willing to back it as part of the heritage tree now. We're just trying to learn how to walk, and that feels like it's running. There's so many. I mean, there's city infrastructure that is underground going through there. There's so many different aspects of things that we would need to really carefully consider that I think it's just biting off more than we can chew right now. I would completely agree with let's pick a tree. Let's pick several trees if you want to submit several and work it through the program. But I wouldn't be able to support the whole thing carte blanche right now.
Another concern is, I mean, we need to walk that area and see. I mean, I've been reading a lot about pruning trees, learning about pruning trees, and dead, damaged, and diseased. So those are the kind of things you look for. But if you're looking at a whole forest, there are going to be dead, damaged, and diseased parts of it that we need to look at. There's lots of holly trees in there that are starting to sprout. We need to take them out. We need to take out all the blackberries. We need to take out all of the ivy. Otherwise, it's just going to be a forest, a wild forest that's not healthy. So I really want to make it a healthy space. And that's going to take time and planning. And if we just consider it a treasured spot, that we can start there, and then we can get teams of people to come in and start helping us bring back the health of that forest, because in the last few years, I've seen it degrade just because of the invasives. The more light that's in there, the more invasives that are come. So we got to replant in there. We have to start replanting. We have to start taking out all that holly. And the birds are going to be not going to be our friends sometimes, because they're going to be dropping seeds. So as citizens, I'm sure you're all here helping with this forest. Call on your young friends and let's get them all together, and let's put it as a mission of our city to bring that back to health, so that we won't lose it. I mean, nobody goes in there and helps it. So we just need to put that on our agenda. I mean, I know, sorry, I know you help it, but I mean, it needs a lot of.
Be like this. 20 years ago, it was unbelievable. That ivy is on the run. I mean, I'm not going to try and defend myself, but you talk about how it's gone downhill. Well, maybe it's going downhill now from where it was 10 years ago, but the ivy, and we killed every holly tree in there 15 years ago. That's not enough. I know there's a lot of holly in there. The ivy really is on the run compared to what it was. I just want to say that. And to expound upon this whole issue, if I may, that whole property is zoned open space. It used to be zoned institutional because there's going to be a school there, an art center, and a city hall and whatnot. But the good news is it's open space, which not open space park. It's not park, it's open space. So you can't even put a trail or a picnic table, or the trail through it is one thing, because that's above the wastewater force main, which Les refers to cutting through the forest, but it is open space. So not much can happen there except management and invasive removal and all that stuff, which is all great. It's not like it's completely neglected. I mean, it's in our minds. I know it needs attention now, and I agree with you. And it'd be great to get volunteers in there. And I even showed AJ his second day here. Like, see those holly trees? When you get a chance, kill them all. And he's honest. But I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, but there's a bit of a history to that whole area. So
Maybe a future work party, you know?
I love the idea of like a monthly work party that people will just participate in as they can.
there's a 2,000-foot
Spread.
concrete foundation
I know.
in there.
No.
That was the Cannon Beach Historical Society.
Okay.
That's as far as it got.
Well, I know Barb mentioned that we would have one of our Earth Day events would be to have a work party in that reserve. So we could manage to do that. That would be great.
Inside the foundation was the Cannon Beach Community Garden for 2 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mr. Rippey in the back could expound upon that, but this probably isn't the time.
I don't know. I just feel like we need to have a mission to preserve it. But I just know it's going to be a lot of work.
Be a great work party in the holly. You know, we killed it all. We pulled the big stuff out, the little stuff we left. The problem with the holly is it sprouts back.
Yeah, I know.
So other places in town, to be quite honest, is you use an auger, and after you cut the holly down, you drill a hole in the stump and you pour in 100 proof Roundup and pound a cork into the hole to hold that poison in there. And that can kill the stump sometimes. Sounds kind of,
Well,
I'm being honest, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things like, you know, how people feel about Roundup, much like I feel about it. It's like,
yeah.
good, but at some point, and this is where Trevor and we'll have Jeff weigh in, I think, on the whole stand of trees there.
Let's get some work party started out there.
Mhm.
And
Can we
then,
put that on the schedule for this first Saturday of Earth Day, a work party
Yes, please.
at the
Let's do
Spruce
that.
Forest?
That'd be great. So I'm not familiar with the Spruce Reserve. The historical part of this discussion is fascinating. Is there an opportunity to, I guess, I'm trying to come up with the right word, to recognize that space more formally, maybe have a sign that describes the value of it so that more of us, including me, think about it in terms of the ECFR as something that's really formally important and not just a cool green space.
I'm looking at Oregon City's, their heritage tree stuff, and they have a heritage stand designation. Was that considered when the heritage tree program was discussed?
Yeah.
And, did we just not go with making that an option because
No, it is an option.
it
We
is?
just wanted to start small. We wanted to start with a tree so we could kind of see how it went, see what we needed to learn from the whole process. Did we need to change anything?
Gotcha.
So then we'd start small and then we could grow it, but we wanted to be able to really identify early on.
Well, could we go back to council? I mean, if we decide that we want to designate 6 of the big, beautiful trees along Spruce in that area, could we go back to council and say that this is just such a beautiful area that we want to preserve, that we want to do 6 trees rather than 1 at this site?
We certainly have that option, but we did really want to start small. So, but then we were planning on expanding it. But if we started small to really see what needed to happen, and then we can expand it from there.
Right. And that's where I'm thinking that, there's enough beautiful trees along Spruce that we could designate that area, which would maybe help the history of the Spruce Reserve, as well as showing that we care about that in our.
The reason we're starting with 1 is I have to be cautious with the city funds, getting our city arborist involved. So that's why we're starting with 1. I discussed with my arborist with this recent application, and he's excited to come back with 1 tree. He's really excited to see that tree. So let's focus on getting 1 tree picked out in there. Maybe we find it during the work party or something, but I think it's a good area to start.
I don't think we should think of this as a negation of the idea. I just think
No,
I think it's right what Les said. We're learning to walk and we're going to learn to run. But if it was a forest that was really healthy right now, I would have no qualms. But I don't know. I mean, we're the blackberry people. We know how hard it is to get blackberries out. And I just think we need to look at it and figure out what we need to do to bring it back to life in a healthy way. Not saying that we're not going to make these trees heritage trees. I mean, we want them to be heritage trees. We want to work on that space. We want that space to be preserved. So.
Les, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I was just gonna chime in, yes, to Hannah's question. The form actually does have, the application form actually does have stand of trees as one of the designators. And then it says, if a stand, how many? And at least speaking for myself, I was thinking we were trying to create a way to protect a finite stand of trees where the trees actually give each other that support to the winds. And if you take 1 or 2 out, it weakens the whole group. We did. And so I would like to see that aspect become available to us in the future. We did agree that to start off, 1 tree was going to be plenty for us to learn how to do this. But I do think that stands of trees deserve special recognition, and I'd be more than happy to support that kind of thing going forward.
And when this tree is selected, especially in the Spruce Reserve, once my arborist looks at it, we might have to perform some work around the general tree that's nominated. If Jeff considers it a heritage tree, along with the heritage tree itself, it might have to get trimmed up a little bit to get it spruced back up. So there's a cost that's associated with that. So just be aware of that.
Okay, thank you very much. So I have one update on the Little Free Library. We finally did get some drawings, little structure. Trevor received the drawings on Monday, coming around.
And I'll scan this and send you this information, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Couple of the hand-drawn pictures didn't print off so well, so I'm gonna pass out the actual hard copies.
You need one, Tim.
Thank you.
Got an extra. Bill, does
Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks. Cute.
Aw.
So Anita,
Oh, yeah. They proposed West Shirley Park.
Oh, yeah, I've already talked to him quite a bit.
We can X-nay out the freestanding post. I think we decided it was gonna be inside the bus shelter, but drawings was a freestanding.
but we already have a good spot for it. It doesn't need a post.
Correct.
It's just nice, right? Like the idea of having it in that space.
So is this agreeable? Is this what you were hoping to receive?
Yeah, I mean, do we want to have Les have a chance to take a look at it? I haven't scanned it and sent it to him yet, but
I'd be willing to accept the consensus of the committee if everybody likes it.
Good for you.
What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah. I can't make out the first picture. So the idea is to mount it on the bus stop, right?
correct.
What do you think, Trevor?
I'm fine with it.
Blue and green sounds pretty good. Stainless steels makes sense. Plexiglass makes sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
Incorporated all my concerns with, hardware rotting out and stuff like that, so
the color's good and stainless steel is good, so.
What's that street, you know where Phil lives, right?
Yeah.
Milchenna,
That's
Or just-
Galcana. There's the
Galcana?
corner of Galcana and Hemlock.
Volcana.
Yeah, there's one down there.
So he actually made that one.
So this guy Phil is the one who made the little free library on Galcana.
I
Okay,
used to work with him at
Yeah.
Landscape, and yeah, there's one. He made just
wanna-
across the street from, where he lives on
Look at his handy.
blue and matches the house that it's in front of. If you want to see something that he made,
so Gulkana and
Hemlock.
Hemlock,
It's halfway, it's one house down west Galcana.
Right at the bottom of the S curves.
Take a right, you go right by it on the way to the beach access. Kind of new, isn't it? Less than a year, I think.
Yeah. Did it this past summer.
And this one's proposed for the less surely get on the bus stop because it doesn't get much.
I've talked with him about it.
what do you guys think?
I like,
Motions? Looks good to me.
I motion that we accept the drawing.
Wonderful. Would you like a second?
Second.
No DRB issued, Trevor.
correct.
Any discussion?
Minor modification.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Wonderful. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be great.
Can't wait. Does anybody have anything for good of the order?
Keep Trevor posted if there's like a date when this might get installed.
Okay.
I want to be aware of it. People working there.
Well, we'll keep it on the agenda.
Okay.
Update. Mindy will,
Just when someone goes to work on it, we like to know if someone besides us is on the way on something.
sounds good. Anything for the order?
So speaking to this beautiful audience, if any of you want to be part of a work party for the Forest Reserve during the 12 days of Earth Day, could we have a meeting after and just talk about it? As I noticed when we were doing our blackberries is Amy and Nita were the youngest people helping us. So we need all the people we can, but we also need to tap into some younger people, and we're open to ideas of how we can get more volunteers to help us in the ECFR plus the Forest Reserve. So anyway, that's my plea.